What's good, my fellow GeoGeeks and MetaMappers? Spatial Ninja here, bringing you This Week in MetaMapping. Today is Monday, April 24th, and this week we've got a few articles to talk about. A lot of these articles will continue to cover the topic around digital twin. We've got a new tool that we'll discuss that allows you to create a 3D floor plan from a 2D floor plan. We'll talk about some of the mapping and analysis that is going on to better predict and understand potential flooding from the snowpack in California. And we'll talk about how environmental digital twins are going to be saving the world. We'll also talk a lot about the new updates to ArcGIS Enterprise 11.1. So be sure to stick around to hear some of the new updates from this latest release. And as always, we'll talk about we'll show some mappy memes, and then we'll end the episode for this week. So let's just jump right into our articles. So our first article here comes from GeoWeek News. New 3D digital twin floor plan tool unveiled by ARway. So the patent pending tool converts 2D floor plans into 3D floor plans to create augmented reality experiences. So last month, ARway, a company specializing in AI-powered augmented reality experience creation, unveiled their new technology to convert 2D floor plans into 3D digital twin floor plans. The company hopes to eliminate the need for costly scanning and other reality capture measures to create their AR experiences. So a lot of times when we hear about digital twins, it's coupled with LiDAR capture and the ability to go out either with drones or your smartphone and create and capture point clouds that you can turn into these 3D models. So essentially what ARway has done is they've created a AI powered way of taking a 2D floor plan of a building and then starting to extrude that 2D floor plan into a 3D floor plan without the need to walk throughout the entire building and capture LiDAR and create those 3D models. So perhaps most impressively, ARway indicates that they are able to incorporate pinpoint locational accuracy and scale into the creation of these models. The company says that their artificial intelligence powers the accurate alignment of a floor plan, which eliminates the need for manual scaling of the floor plan in the Creator Studio, enabling creators to place augmented reality content with pinpoint accuracy in the real environment. So if you think about the use case here, if you are a mall and you want to let folks know where stores are, or maybe where there is discounts available throughout the mall, you could provide an augmented reality application that would allow someone to hold up their smartphone or allow someone to put on a Google Glass and see where different kiosks are or where different stores are through those Google Glasses or through that smartphone camera. So with the ability now to take that 2D floor plan, create this 3D rendering and 3D floor plan, you can then start tying those points of interest directly to the exact location throughout the mall. And here we can see an image here, or an example. In this case, it's a museum where you've got someone holding up their smartphone, for example, putting their camera up, and then it's letting you know more information about that artifact. So I see that there's going to be many more of these types of applications coming out, and AI processes to, again, generate more and more of this 3D data or digital twin data. But good to see that folks are still building processes around this space to help streamline that creation of those digital twin data sets. Our next article this week comes again from GeoWeek News. Unity Industry builds and deploys interactive digital twins. Unity's new offering is a suite of products and services delivering high-quality 3D graphics aimed at enterprise customers. So, as many of you may know, Unity has primarily made its name in the gaming space. Unity Engine is a platform that helps to power a lot of the rendering inside of these video games. And they've started to branch out and start to leverage a lot of that same technology in this digital twin space to help organizations to be able to model their own buildings, their own infrastructure in 3D, so that they can then build their own enterprise applications instead of maybe consumer-focused applications that are specifically around video gaming. So Unity says that Unity Industry, which is this new enterprise suite, is a set of optimized products and services that enterprises across manufacturing, infrastructure, energy, retail, and other industries that they can leverage to build and deploy interactive real-time experiences. So here's a listing of some of these solutions as part of this larger enterprise offering. You've got Unity Enterprise, which allows those enterprises to manage complex real-time 3D projects across teams and at scale. Industry Success, exclusive to Unity Industry to overcome challenges faster with dedicated success advisors, professional training and onboarding, and rapid response support. So more of a professional services package. Pixies plugin, which is enterprises can import more than 40 3D CAD and BIM file types to bring in source data into Unity's real-time 3D platform. So this is more of like a data interop or a safe software type of plugin here, just making more and more 3D data interoperable. Unity Mars efficiently creates AR apps with better workflows and purpose-built authoring tools, so kind of an SDK here. And then Unity Build Server, which enterprises can utilize on-premise solutions to build Unity projects faster, test, and scale regardless of network restrictions. So a whole suite of solutions here from Unity, which is targeted directly at the enterprise customer. So once again, in the GIS space, more and more businesses, more enterprise customers getting into the digital twin space and looking for solutions to help them create digital twins of their own enterprises. Our next article this week is from GIS Lounge, and it's an article about mapping snowpack and forecasting river rise in California. So I'm located in Southern California, and this past winter we've had quite a bit of rain. And in the Sierras and even in our local mountains, we've had a ton of snow drop. And, in California, we've had quite a bit of drought over the years. So it's good to see. But it's interesting now to see how we can predict what that runoff is going to look like, because all that snow has to go somewhere. And so measuring snow and forecasting snow melt effects on river rise is important for planning for California's water needs and to mitigate flooding. Again, how can you capture as much of that runoff as possible while also mitigating rivers overflowing and flooding in the lower basins of California as the Sierras start to melt that snow off. So there's new methods and technologies that can help with accessing or assessing snowpack levels and predicting the timing and amount of water runoff and snow melt. So they talk a bit about why snowpack is important, obviously because it's not about the rain that helps to alleviate drought in California, but we need that slow melting of the snowpack to replenish those reservoirs and rivers in California. So we can see some of the snow water equivalent map here. And they talk about some new geospatial technologies, not necessarily new technologies, but just technologies in general for measuring snow levels. So a lot of times they will fly aircraft. And so instead of using weather station data to gauge how much snowpack, a key to measuring the overall amount of water resources available after snowfall comes from lasers and spectrometers that are attached to aircraft. So again, flying aircraft to be able to collect, how much snow has actually fallen in a particular area. The aircraft operated by airborne snow observatories that scan the state's watersheds has led to both very accurate snowpack measurements and about 98% accuracy or better in forecasting seasonal water runoff. So another great use case here of LiDAR technology is you fly those drones or those aerial aircrafts over the snowfall, being able to, send those lasers and return readings from the snowpack to understand how much snow there is. And then as it starts to melt off, how fast is it running off? How much is it melting? And then how much is it replenishing those waterways and those reservoirs? So using GIS technology to help model runoff from snowmelt, methods for modeling watersheds from snowpack data include using structure from motion technique in capturing point cloud data that can be fixed to known ground control points. A digital surface model is then created. So once you have that LiDAR data, then creating that surface model, again, to know how much snowpack there is, and then differences in elevation between the natural snowpack terrain, and allow snow depth to be measured using statistical models for calculating snow runoff. Vary, but common techniques include using spatial regression models that take output raster image cells and determine water equivalent from the volume of snow. So how much volume of snow in a particular raster cell, you can start to forecast how much water is going to run off from that particular location. Weather and terrain conditions are also utilized as they can affect total runoff. So as it starts to get hotter, obviously snow melts faster. And if we have a rainy season and it's not cold enough to melt or not cold enough to freeze and actually snow, that also affects the runoff there. So interesting article here, and a great use case of GIS. And me, again, being in Southern California, this was of interest to myself. Next article from the Esri blog, Environmental Digital Twins and Earth Stewardship. So we've talked a lot about digital twins over the last few weeks, mainly focused on industrial use cases, indoor mapping, mapping of industry and industrial buildings or factories to be able to understand logistics and forecasting out when certain things would be created or manufacturing, how long it's going to take to build something and get it to its end location. But this particular article talks a lot about using digital twins to model the environment, which again, in my mind, is just, it's GIS 101, right? GIS has always been that engine and system to help model different layers and bring in all these different environmental factors so you can do analysis and better understand the environment. So it says here that land managers and scientists use GIS to create environmental digital twins that integrate knowledge about the ecosystem health and biodiversity. Digital twins capture how ecosystems are now and how they will change. By sharing data and knowledge, environmental digital twins foster collaboration across scientific domains. So again, in my mind, the digital twin is a bit of a buzzword right now. And at the end of the day, this is just the evolution of GIS. As you start to create and collect these different layers of environmental information, being able to analyze them more easily, being able to share the results more easily, and then start to tie in things like real-time data and sensors to round out that environmental digital twin. It says here that the Nature Conservancy is working with Esri and a community of more than 70 research partners to create this digital twin of point conception. The digital twin captures critical environmental data to create a working model of natural communities and ecosystems. Coupled with environmental sensors and AI, the digital twin accelerates understanding of natural processes. So again, I think that's a key piece to this is, not just mapping the current landscape and ecosystem and the environment as it is at this point in time, but starting to tie in those real-time sensors that can start allowing you to collect more and more data and information about the environment. Things like temperature readings, soil readings, things like that, you're always continually modeling the environment versus a one and done. You've gone out, you've collected this information, you've created these data layers, but now the frequency that you're updating those data layers is becoming more and more rapid as you're putting real-time sensors out there to collect that information. And I think that's really where this idea of digital twin starts to come to light, is being able to model things as they are in reality as real-time as possible. And here in this map, we can see the Jack and Laura Dangermond Preserve, where a lot of these studies are going on, and point conception here. This is a beautiful area along the Pacific coast. And so great to see this use case for digital twins, not just focusing on enterprise and industry, but also on the environmental side and conservation. So be sure to check out this article on Esri blog to learn more about this environmental digital twin. Okay, so now a little bit on what is new in ArcGIS. The main update that we'll talk about today is what's new in ArcGIS Enterprise 11.1. So this was just released on April 20th. So it's available to deploy today. This is considered a long-term support release. Typically, these .1 releases are a long-term support release that include, all the fixes and patches from the .0 original release. So Enterprise is now available for you to deploy and migrate and upgrade your current environments. So some of the new updates that were of interest to myself, the map viewer. So if you've been following the map viewer in ArcGIS Online, there's been a lot of new updates there. Things like, we'll talk a little bit more about that here, but all the new updates from the June 22 and November 2022 release of ArcGIS Online have now made their way into ArcGIS Enterprise. And some of those highlights include a few of my favorites: viewing related records and pop-ups, better arcade expression editor, the ability to use pie charts to visualize data and tables and layers directly in your map viewer, and the ability to have different types of symbology like configure on-the-fly geohashes and binning. Some new updates to the scene viewer, like the ability to perform line of sight analysis or measure in 3D directly within your 3D web scene. Webhooks, so if you're looking to monitor your ArcGIS services when data changes, when data gets added, webhooks for feature services, events for create, read, update, and delete operations, for referenced and hosted feature services are available. And one note I'll make here is that later this week we'll be releasing a video where we actually do a deep dive on different types of ArcGIS services. So I know it's something that still can confuse me, all the different service types from feature services to map services. So we'll be doing a deep dive on different ArcGIS services and layers. So be on the lookout for that video to be released later this week. And there's also a webhook here for geoprocessing services. So as jobs finish and the status of those. So being able to integrate with other systems using these webhooks in ArcGIS Enterprise. Some new updates to apps, like the ArcGIS Instant app. So a few more new Instant apps have made their way. We can see some of the highlights here: chart viewer, countdown, exhibit, media map, nearby, zone lookup, portfolio, and sidebar are all either new or enhanced instant apps available in ArcGIS Enterprise. Some new updates to Experience Builder. So we've got a variety of widgets that have been released in this 11.1 release of ArcGIS Enterprise. 3D Toolbox, print, timeline, coordinates, link enhancements, and sharing level updates. So a variety of new updates in ArcGIS Experience Builder. One thing that I really liked in ArcGIS Online is this members categories feature. So the ability to group your different users within your ArcGIS Online account into these categories. So you could filter or run reports on different groups of members. So these member categories have now made their way into Enterprise 11.1. We can see some of the updates to different server roles as well, including ArcGIS Knowledge Server, which is an engine for graph data and being able to analyze and manage graph data. So ArcGIS Knowledge Server now supports user-managed graph store. So an external Neo4j, which is a standard graph database. So if you've got data in Neo4j, we can natively go right in and pull that data into ArcGIS Knowledge Server now. And this introduces new capabilities available in ArcGIS Pro to analyze and query knowledge graphs in an investigation, a link chart, a map, and search and filter pane. So if your organization has graph data, be sure to look into ArcGIS Knowledge and Knowledge Server. So for the complete listing of what is new, be sure to check out this blog or go to the resource page for ArcGIS Enterprise. But a lot of new capabilities in Enterprise 11.1, which again has been released on April 20th. So that has been the articles and ArcGIS updates for this week in MetaMapping. Now let's highlight here a couple of memes. So our first one comes from Matt Malone. I really liked this meme here. My web, maps, and apps. Me who recently edited sharing permissions on a single layer. You know, there's so many dependencies on the layers within your ArcGIS Online or Enterprise account. That one layer could be connected to 3 different web maps, which could all be feeding 5 different applications. And as soon as you delete or change sharing permissions, you've got those ramifications, those downstream effects of breaking maps and apps. So, you know, no longer are the days of just breaking the data source within ArcMap, but now with WebGIS, as soon as you break a data source, or you change sharing permissions, it's going to affect not just your map or someone else's MXD, but all these other web maps and apps. So I'll like and retweet that one. And another one from Matt Malone here. When your GIS data takes the wrong turn, the lost city of geoprocessing errors, Null Town. I thought that was pretty funny. If there's actually a Null Town out there, definitely got to put that one on the bucket list to go visit. So we'll like and retweet this Mappy meme for the week. Okay, so those were our Mappy memes. Once again, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got lots of shorts that we're continually putting up here, as well as our This Week and MetaMapping videos. And then we'll be continuing to put out other MetaMapping videos where we focus on different topics like Web3 and Metaverse, as well as tips and tricks within ArcGIS. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I also want to note that in May, we're going to be giving away this Ledger Nano X. So we'll be having a little bit of a competition that we'll be holding a variety of different where in the meta world competitions, and those that can guess the right city will be giving away this Ledger Nano X, and we may also be giving away something else. So we'll start that competition and contest in May, so be on the lookout for that. Follow us on Twitter to stay connected to that giveaway, and be sure to join our Discord community to keep that conversation going. And lastly, make sure you guys check out our NFT projects, Project Meta Expedition, as well as City Maps Collection. These two NFT projects are GIS and map focused. So make sure that you guys check these two projects out. And if you want to help the channel out, go ahead and pick yourself up a couple of NFTs, and you can find out more information and all the benefits that come along with these NFTs by visiting our website here. So this has been This Week in MetaMapping. I'm going to try and get these videos out more consistently. If you've got a specific date you'd like to see these videos come out every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, make sure you guys comment that below. But until next time, make sure to stay mappy, my friends.